It's going to be tough here. ONIC can play this really smart, but it's going to be them, yes, this time going for that counter punch initiation. I think it'll be down to the entry of Dare, delaying his entry and just waiting out and looking for where that Melissa will be.
That or Super Prince steals away the dragon. So it's not like they have no solutions. It's just harder to execute, but it's not impossible. Let's get into game number 2 here. Once more, it's match point for RSG SLATE Philippines.
Yep, stealing a feathered airstrike is also one way to do it.
That's true.
Great points there. At this point, look for... If I were ONIC, though, I would like to gank heavily on the Melissa as early as possible.
While she doesn't have the ult.
Exactly. That's one of the few ways they can do this.
But it's going to be hard for them to actually rush things. There's a lot of control that RSG has in terms of the river in the early portion of the game in the mid game because of, well, the rotational speed of one Cho, the reach of the Farsa, and then the Fredrin as well. It's going to be tough. ONIC can pull it off, but they're going to have to check off a lot more things in their list to do it.
Yeah, ONIC's win condition here is obviously, with the line they picked up, is to just group up as much as they can, maximize the penalty zone, maximize the I'm offended, everything.
Make RSG SLATE come to them. That's very possible. That's very possible.
Which is, again, telegraphed all over to the other side. RSG knows that, guys, don't group up. Group up equals GG.
It becomes a matter of I know, you know, so what's the answer? Since Sui here, dueling with H2 early on.
And as you can see in the duel of Terizla versus the Toms, the clear speed, oh look at that skin, the clear speed of one Terizla is just way too good, and it's able to send Nats back and keeping him less proactive than he would like to. You see Dare's actually already there by that turtle pit.
Melissa, the main expansion. We're going to have to watch out for that later on.
Let's watch.
So, yep, the turtle pit is actually one of the strengths of ONIC because they're forcing RSG to funnel down onto this very tight area.
Yep, huge pull here, an immaculate pull by Dare, and watch out for Super Fringe.
Oh!
There's a kick!
That's what we're looking for right there, and that is a huge one, a huge pickup here for RSG. That's a double kill for Exhort, but the turtle will go over to ONIC in the end, and a double kill for Sensui as well.
2 for 2, but Turtle does go over to ONIC Philippines. Reptar, do we have a clear winner?
That was a win for ONIC in my books. They get the turtle, they got the 2 kills. So if both of you get 2 kills, but who got the turtle? It's that man right there, Sensui. So ONIC gets a win there. But in the bottom lane, ONIC, they committed a lot of resources in that turtle fight. They're going to need to help out Nets more in that gold lane, hence why Kikadut is here now. But Light is going to answer that as well. So maybe for the next minute or so, we might see a dual gold lane for both teams.
Yeah, and more battle spells are available for ONIC, so that gives them a little bit more of an edge in terms of who engages first in the next 2 minutes of this game.
Now we see more of a presence from both teams in the bottom lane. For the first turtle, it was a pop. But now, Dare in trouble. Could this be a kill?
Oh, the tankiness of a Terizla, that passive really kicking in. The damage reduction is actually quite real, and of course it will be popped back up. Look at that HP, just basically almost nothing happened.
The body of Smith is what it's called. And I'm glad to see, despite it being nerfed, about 6 to 9 months ago, still okay, Light?
Ooh.
Oh!
Right. The Terrify came in just in time there to stop him from pulling out the Way of the Dragon.
Clutch Terrify by Super Friends, and now Emma and the next one are in trouble.
Oh, that's a lot of damage
Oh,
actually being absorbed here by Kekadot, but he is not done. Eamon still wants some of that cookie, and he gets it. Although, of course, look at the damage being done by a max stacked Mortis and the Beatrix to a tower. It is destructive.
And with that, he picks up his Hunter Strike, allowing for great timing going into the second turtle of the game, since bottom lane, the long lane, has been softened up.
Great call there by ONIC to immediately gank Eman as soon as they can. They needed to do it, and they succeeded, and got way more than we thought that they would. Getting that tower, Eman has been pushed way back. Nets can play a more proactive role now. ONIC will have the lead here in this turtle, and they take it without a problem.
And this is the play for ONIC. You want to force RSG into these tight corners, and right now RSG, they're not willing to go. They don't want to go for it.
They know the timing is not on their side. This is where you can clearly say it's ONIC time. They have an early game lead. If anything, ONIC's only losing the gold lane, and I think that's why they went for the push immediately so that Nets can breathe a little.
Yeah, and it still worked out that Super Friends, even though we mentioned earlier about him getting more of those control long-range mages, he still gets it because he still gets the ultimate of the Farsa at the end of the day. So it's a good time here for Super Friends, and we're seeing here the effect of having the Terrify available. If he can get to time it right and is fast enough, can actually stop Light from pulling off those great pickoffs onto Nets and the key members of ONIC PH. Looking at the items, slight lead here for the Baytrix. Mid laners is actually Exord in the lead though because he does have more kills. So this Farsa is packing damage, and that's what ONIC has to be careful about. If they miss time their entry, Eman and Exord will be able to counter-punish so
About
hard.
a minute away from the third turtle, we're seeing core items get picked up across the board, even for XP laners. Nats here now has his corrosion sight, so he's able to bite down on the targets even better. We haven't really seen our XP laners leave much of their quarter of the map. Now we're seeing and waiting for where RSG SLATE PH might find their clapback. Where can they rubber band on through? Because, there's a pull by Kekadon!
Huge pull here by Kekadon, bro. And that is all she wrote there with just enough damage coming in from the Beatrix. And that caught him off guard, man. That was a huge punish.
That was all ONIC. Like, they knew that they can afford it. And look, that allows the rest of them to even threaten the purple. They're just living on RSG SLATE's side of the map, look.
Yeah, and this should be a very easy turtle as well.
Yeah, one of the ways to beat RSG SLATE in their own game is to, if you can and you have the info, pick off Light, take him down as soon as possible because RSG SLATE will be forced to push back. And again, 2 games in a row now for the early game. Nats is stuck in his lane, and it's there playing a more proactive presence, again, because of a Terizla just being able to clear minion waves much faster compared to a Tom.
Which is a big contrast to what you normally see on Cho games, where you always have to keep your eyes on the Cho, but this time around, the Cho is the one who's always making the beeline for the base.
Speaking of, look at this perilous positioning. By Light, catches one.
Still gets it. Goes for the kill. That is a huge collapse here by RSG, but the damage coming in from there is actually, you cannot ignore it. Right now, RSG, they're feeling it. Emma's on the back line. He is untouched, and he just can't keep going here. He's shut down by H2 on the net. Is huge. Sensui still has that ultimate, but will not be able to use it, as he will get willed down by Eman, and now Dare has to make a run for it, but he can't. It's a killing spree for Nats.
Counter punish. That's what we were talking about. It was RSG who initiated. The earlier portion of that looked like ONIC would be able to turn it around, but they just couldn't get Eman. The reason why ONIC was able to win that early on was because Eman was still coming down from the top lane, but once he was there, he was just freely hitting. A beautiful turnaround play there by RSG SLATE.
We were looking for it, and RSG SLATE says, here it is. Let's watch the replay once more. And this all started with that pickoff by Light.
Yeah, we just had to let him cook.
Just had to let him cook, and he got to cooking. And look at Eman just making the most out of his dashes on that Melissa thing of beauty. Even H2 had to wrap back. He stopped the chase and decided to help out Eman more. A great adjustment there by RSG SLATE mid-fight.
Yeah. Actually, H2 made the call after he took down Nets. He had a mission of his own. He said, mission accomplished, guys. What's the hubbub? Oh, right, there's another team fight over here. And that's what allowed RSG SLATE PH to get back maybe 1,000 gold ahead now, 9 minutes in.
Yeah, you can't just focus down on the one player for RSG because everyone just wants to make their mark. Everyone is a huge threat. And once you ignore one of them, they're the ones who keep punching back.
And it's the same positioning by Light that allowed for that turnaround, allowed his team to get back into the lead. And he's spotted here by Dare, his once teammate under TNC in Season 8. And now we're far from that. Speaking of far, check out Nets, check out Eman. These two marksmen are going to have to play such a role in the next team fight here in this first Lord.
Oh man, the go away just in time from Eman though. Able to get out in the nick of time, and the kick from Light will be punished hard though by the DPS coming in from ONIC. And there you see what we are saying earlier. Super Friends with a feathered airstrike is just as potent as the Forza from RSG.
Romer violence. We're trading Kekedot for light. And just like that, ONIC PH scores the first Lord.
They have their own comeback potential as well, and they showed it incredibly well there. ONIC PH, RSG SLATE, they were the ones who got caught out there, but it seems like it was the same exact story as the last team fight. The last big team fight that we saw before this one, but this time it was RSG SLATE who lost that one big time. So great job there by Net, still able to get away despite getting kicked by Light, and great timing by Super Friends of when to pop that feathered airstrike to send back the members of RSG SLATE.
Watch Light once more. He's still looking for it. There's very little downtime for RSG SLATE PH. Despite having lost that team fight, lost the Lord, they're still looking for plays. And there's a pull by Kekedot.
It looks like whoever pulls the trigger
Wow.
first gets it away. Emma, the DPS
damage.
on the back line. He is untouched, and H2 is in front. He's trying to see if he can get some vision, but Light, he's on the hunt. He's trying to see if there's any outliers he can pick up. But looks like ONIC is going to be very aware of this. They're all together. They're roaming around. They're not giving RSG a chance to clap back.
They lost Nats on the defense, but they do take out Super Friends as well as a tier 2 down bottom. I'd call that a wash. I think RSG SLATE PH, they're doing well to recover, but ONIC PH are still calling the shots. Again, whoever pulls the trigger first, whoever has initiative, is going to be ahead. We're in the mid game.
Yeah.
ONIC might, RSG SLATE rather, might just adjust their approach a little bit. This time they might actually commit more resources into taking down Super Friends instead of Nets right away, because that feathered airstrike is a problem for Emma's Melissa. And ooh! Okay, but now this time ONIC says, okay, if you feel like Super Friends is a problem, Net still has a lot of damage being dished out here. RSGPH are going to have to balance. They do have a lot of control abilities and the poke damage from Exor, so they can't just throw all of them onto whoever Light picks off. They're going to need to split their resources and hope that they'll just have enough damage from Emma to just clean things up.
Yeah. And basically, Net's just giving him a taste of their own medicine last game.
Yeah. feel my pain.
Feel the pain.
Oh, H2,
H2.
dueling with there.
Oh,
And
and taking out with counter engage, as you can see there. Good damage from Exort, forcing back ONIC. But the DPS is unstoppable. Eman, he's in this form. He's in this element. The kickback, the way in the dragon by Super Friends is enough to take out Light, but it's not enough to stop Eman. He's still going there. H2O and Exort, the duo from NXP. They're looking for a target. ONIC will make it out just in the nick of time, but RSG, they're clapping back hard.
Is this Melissa, man? A 505 on Emon right now. Still deathless. His positioning, making the most out of the dashes, and look how fast the health bars of ONIC go down when Emon is freely hitting.
Emon's the guy. Emon is the guy to hunt down here. If you are ONIC, abandon everything at this point, because right now he is the immediate threat.
And it's that same reason why I think RSG SLATE PH, as much as they'd like to change their timing, as much as they'd like to play the counter initiation, once Eman says, this is it, they have to go in. And that's why they pushed in so deep down bottom, and that's why they won the trade. Despite it being a 3-for-2, a 3-for-2 is still a 3-for-2. If they could have had their way, Eman would have gone in even deeper. Now, they've started the push and pull, the lore dance, TM. Rockhart, start counting. How long is this going to be? Since Sui pulling it all the way to their side. I'm smelling a reset.
All the way back to the back.
Here we
What's
go again.
actually you have to notice is Nats is quite absent in these fights. He's been trying to reposition himself very well. He gets punished a lot as well.
He
He's really
seems
just
to be
a sponge.
he seems to be the main trade tool for RSG SLATE PH, and so far it's worth it. But much as theory and economy states, if you keep pushing it that way, it's going to result in inflation. The amount that your life is worth at some point, especially when we go into the late game, it's not going to be worth it. It's not going to be worth it, especially if you can't have Eman deal that much damage on the clapback.
Yeah, that's why RSG SLATE are going to rely a lot on making sure that they can deal the damage, because Nats can only withstand so much. And yeah, Toms, even with a vengeance on him, and even with his ultimate up, even though he's almost fully built, he's gonna go down fast. But more of like Tom's at this point is just like, okay, if you're gonna take me down, I'm taking you down with me.
Watch out, Lord here at a third of his health.
Oh,
Concealed play by Kekedot.
Oh, Sensui's the target. That is perfect. But Nets shuts down Eman. finally, after so many minutes, and ONIC, they come out with 5 people ahead and a Lord to boot, and they send RSG running.
Lord went to H2 though. Lord went to H2.
Exactly.
And with that, there's a scramble. The map belongs clearly to ONIC PH, but RSG SLATE are still here. They have their Highland defense. Lord's going to be spawning in about 5 seconds. Could this defense last? Can they do it? There's a feathered airstrike. Lord marches down to bottom lane. He can still breathe. You can still breathe, Raiders.
Exort's
this match
quite
ain't
healthy.
over.
He's got it. He's still got a lot of that wave clear.
This match
so
ain't over.
Even with 5 men up present here for ONIC, it's very difficult to make a push happen.
Yeah, and now it's a reset. Oh, I smell game number 1 happening all over again, but let's see.
Count them down, boys.
Count it down. Looking at the items right now. Marksman neck and neck. The Mages, though, a slight lead here for Exort, but not by that much. So almost the next item getting fully built here by Super Friends. I'm looking to see if there will actually be a defensive item built here for Exort, because I'd want to see him pick up a Winter Truncheon, just so that if ever he gets caught out, he can Truncheon, and then when it's done, he can flicker, then maybe ultimate, then have a chance to potentially turn it around if he can land the combo.
Look at this tight formation by ONIC PH. They know that this is how they beat the Melissa. They know that if they engage first and they force Nats to overcommit and then pick him off, start there, they know that it's not worth it for RSG SLATE PH. Where does RSG SLATE PH place themselves? Because again, the key so far, we've learned this in game 1, is for Light to find that magic bush, for Light to find that angle, and then start there. They haven't found that since.
That's actually the biggest question, because right now, if you, for example, in that last team fight, Lord fight rather, Sensui was the target, he was basically bait. After they took the focus onto Sensui, Nets finally finds Eman. That should not happen again if you're RSG.
Oh, this might be it. Look at this. Concealed play by Light. Who's he going to see?
Who's the target? Light. Show it up. There is no presence of Nets. Another concealed play on the side of ONIC this time. And look at Nats and H2. It's a free-man collapse straight into the Beatrix, but he's still alive for some reason. He goes down finally. It's a shutdown. Can't get out flow. Superfit's in trouble. The chase is on. Ammon's alive. No marksman on the side of ONIC. RSG, they could have found an opening.
They're not done.
Do it. You gotta make a run for it. You got Emo, but I don't think that's gonna serve a purpose right now, as you are surrounded by RSG, trying this as much possible time as he can for his teammates.
2 for 1 so far, and RSG SLATE have found the angle. They're 2K ahead, but how can they capitalize?
It's near miraculous that RSG SLATE survived that. Now they just need to get the Lord. Now ONIC just needs to bide their time and wait, because it's way too risky if they contest this. RSG finding that turnaround. Nats picked up a key item here, the Immortality. We talked about the concept of Nats as a trade factor, as a trade value going down, but now with that Immortality up, he has a second chance, meaning that he might just be able to make ONIC force use abilities that they'd love to save. Now with the Lord on the side of RSG SLATE, ONIC need to find Exort and Eman yet again, but from such a position where it's RSG knocking on your doorstep, the window of that is quite small.
And just like that, the tables have turned. It's RSG now who's sitting on a very comfortable 4.5 thousand gold lead, 18 minutes, 30 seconds in. A luminous Lord, nay, a evolved Lord marching down through bottom lane, and RSG SLATE PH are about to collapse in. They're leaving Nats up top.
What's going to be the play here? Light. He has been able to capitalize so much on the assassinations here, but the damage from Eman, look at that.
Ooh.
How do you touch? How do you get near this guy? Right now, the Lord is just unstoppable alongside Eman. They take out an inhibitor turret on bottom.
That's permanent damage. ONIC PH have to constantly tend to that lower lane, that bottom lane, penetrated by RSG PH. Now just feathering over 5,000 gold ahead. It's so difficult to be ONIC PH right now.
That's right. And RSG, though, they did show their cards. We saw in the last Lord fight that basically what happened here is that Nats, alongside everyone, H2, they all chased down on the just Nets.
Yeah, it's incredibly.
That's the play.
It's incredibly risky, but one thing that ONIC can do is, oh, Light!
They found Kekedot! The Kekedot initiation is nowhere to be found, and the damage is real from the backline of RSG and Exort. They want to finish this, and I think they can.
Oh no! Just like that, 3-4,
Mania.
4-4, nets left. Can he do it?
Can Emma get
Wants
it?
to go for it. Waiting for the Savage.
Ooh,
Snipe
sidestep.
misses. Oh my god, the minions are the question. And that's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, RSG SLATE
Oh.
Philippines have swept ONIC.
What a game! And indeed, they were slated to win their first series of the season against an ONIC PH squad who came out victorious.